Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to another episode of one-on-one interviews about physical performance. Today, in the episode 13, slightly different guest. Finally, I have a privilege to talk with someone from different team sport, which is not basketball. Here with me, I have Nenad Njaradi. Neno, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for giving me opportunity to share my life experience and sport philosophy with others.
Perfect. Thanks. Neno is currently working in Alavés football team that competes in Spanish La Liga, one of the best, if not the best league, together with Champions League. Let's say it's probably the best league in the world, and he gained experience here because this is your third season with
finishing my third season.
Finishing third season in Alavés, and before he used to work a lot in handball, and that's something that we're going to cover the most, experience in handball and in football. So I'm really looking forward to hearing answers from Neno, and I want to start by asking you something that bothers me a little bit when I hear it always, because I have huge respect for people who work in any team sport and in any sport as strength and conditioning coaches. Okay, strength and conditioning is something related to United States. Here in Europe, we now talk about physical performance specialists. Sometimes it's physical conditioning coach. If we talk about Central Europe, we have European Physical Conditioning Association that is located in Croatia with many international experts in that organization. But in football, I always saw that they're kind of pushing this fitness trainer term to describe your job position, both in UEFA licenses and in FIFA. How do you see this? I know that it bothers some guys. For me, it's just due to respect to all of you who are working. For me, fitness trainer is more related to public gyms and fitness industry. So how do you see that?
Of course, this is not bothering me. I don't think about it on this way. But of course, sometimes I feel like this Russian doll, that you have inside the big one, you have smaller. So I think your title depend of the job you're doing. So I think the football is like the last castle we need to win. We need to win this battle because they are a little closed. This is my opinion. So I think they need to learn from the other sports like basketball, handball, from American football, and every sports like high quality team sports. And there is the different jobs what we do in the football. For example, here in Spain is very specific. They call it preparador físico, like physical coach, and this job is slightly different from the job we used to do. For example, this guy doing almost everything on the pitch with the ball, and for me it was a little confused because fitness coaches is like coaches who working outside of the pitch, and there is like some kind of mix of the football coach and fitness coach who is working on the pitch. So I'm not sure how we can overcome it, but in Alavés I started to do something else. I started to managing all of this area about our job, and for sure you have the right. I think we are kind of performance specialist. Fitness coach is like you say, something for the personal coaches in the gym and fitness.
Excellent. So you said that you kind of arranged the situation in Alavés regarding the physical performance department. So can you tell us currently who do you consider as a part of physical conditioning or physical performance department in Alavés, and how is it structured?
In this moment we have like two strength and fitness coaches, Jose Antonio Morga and I, and we cooperate in both fields. So we monitorize the load on the pitch. We helping readaptator. I think this is some guy, I think it's like guy between the physiotherapist and the fitness coach who help players to come back to the field. So this is like last stage in the injury and helping him to incorporate in group. So we control everything, every of this. Also we have the help of the informatic part from the Julen Castellano, who help us to organize and to articulate all of the data we collect from the field. Also, I do the job for collecting data in my coach. This is like, how to say, the inside feeling about the inside load and outside load from the Julen Castellano, and like almost everything, or every part of our job we covered Morgan and I and Julen Castellano.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Excellent. So basically you have sports scientist
yes.
in Julen, you have a rehab coach who, as you said, something in between physios. Rehab coach, or as you said, rehab guy who is in between physios.
Yes.
and you are covering many fields regarding management of people, but your job is more and your job is more related to strength sessions and preparation before the guys go to the pitch, and then more guys there who more on the pitch, or you are both.
We cover. He cover all the things with the ball. I cover all analytics, for example, running and warm up and agility exercise and reaction exercise. I cover this part, but all everything what we do with cooperation.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I like it. Okay, something that I wanted to ask you also. We are now going a little bit back, but I think it's important, and that's the way how I like to start interviews, to talk a little bit about you, because especially I'm interested in people who have experience in professional sports, and you are one of them. So I would not. I would not like to skip this part. You were a professional track and field athlete many years ago, but still I think it's a valuable piece of your career that definitely had an impact on you choosing the profession that you currently have. So can you tell us a little bit more about your professional athletic background and how it influenced your current job?
You can hardly say that it was professional because of the level of the competition. But of course, this my history as a professional sportsman have a big impact. I think biggest impact on my current job. Why? Because very early, when I reach some level, I stay out of the coaches. I don't have anybody to coach me. So maybe it's my luck that I was born and trained in a small city, and there we don't have a lot of coaches. And the other thing is that all of the sportsmen, they are trained in same facilities, in the same pitch, in the same camp. And my training is generally consisted by weightlifting, with jumping, a lot of plyometrics and sprinting. And in that moment, because we all share this same facility, because I was good in that, because I was like in the national team of all Yugoslavia, so I was in high level, in that moment and that small country. And a lot of sportsmen saw me how I do these things, and they came to me asking for the help. And at the beginning, it was like, how you do this, how you do that, or can you help me to say some exercise, what I can do? And then slowly this is grow in the prescribing the full session, and then for taking, for example, one player to prepare him for the season for the 2 weeks. And I must say, in this moment, I do this all pro bono, like it was my hobby. But later, I feel inside me, I feel some happiness that I help somebody. I saw him growing, becoming the better version of him, and I like it. And I think I was like captured in this business. And I must say that during this moment, I didn't take any money for this. I do this from love. And I think most interesting things what happened is that the last competition I had like an athlete, the next day they offer me to take this position as strength and fitness coach in the local handball club. and this is I'm here now, 20 years later, in the same business and the same job, with same motivation and same engagement. I think I couldn't do any other job with the same motivation.
Excellent. You said that first you started to work in handball, and then I know that your handball strength and conditioning career was pretty long, pretty international. Basically, only these first years were in Vrbas, if I'm not mistaken. But later on, from Bosnia to Hungary to Middle East, so a lot of experience there. You can talk a little bit about it. You can talk where you were, but what is, I think, even more important for the guys is to tell us a little bit how handball changed or structured your strength and conditioning philosophy.
I think it's important to say where I was. I will explain later. I was start in the Vrbas, then first my international job was in Egypt. I prepared national team for the Olympic Games and World Championship. Then I go to Bosnia and the handball club Basna, who played Champions League 2.5 years. Then I go to Bahrain to prepare Bahrain national team for Asian game, and then I come back to national team of Serbia. I work with the men and women teams, preparation for Olympic Games, European Championship, World Championship. Then I go to handball club Vardar. I work with the men and women teams who participate in the Champions League. And then I go to Iran, also preparing the national team of Iran for Olympic Games, for qualification for the Olympic Games. And last year in handball I work in Hungary, and then I came here. Why this is important? This is important because I think that in our job, the very big impact have our experience, working with different culture, with different people, with different sports, changing our viewing, changing our habits. So from this reason, this was very, very interesting and very, very important for me. Second thing is that in handball, I found confirmation about all my philosophy about the training, because handball is like very aggressive sport where the blows, impacts, collision, this is a part of the game. So you need to be strong to withstand all of these impacts. And then I try to analyze all of this, and I saw that if you don't train a lot, if you don't train dedicated, if you don't use all the modern or I don't know basic things about developing strength, you cannot last long in that sport because it is very aggressive.
Excellent. I consider handball as one of the sports, team sports, together with rugby, if we talk about Europe and Australia, or American football, which is kind of similar in United States. Probably those sports need the physical part the most, especially when it comes to raw strength and power. So I think it's very, very valuable. If you can start your strength and conditioning career in those sports, you can learn a lot. However, I think it's tough, or I could say it's not easy, at least, to change from handball, where people are used to work very hard, very dedicated, hard lifting sessions, to football. So can you tell us how was the transition from handball, even female handball, to Spanish football?
I want to say one thing. When I work in handball, I start to thinking about strength on the different way from the other points. So I found that you need to deal with absolute strength and you need to deal with relative strength. So for me, easier, I divide it on the defensive strength and attacking strength. Why defensive strength? Because you need to deal with absolute power. Because there is one player with 100 kilos who is running 30 kilometers per hour. He heading on you for the collision, so you need to withstand the pure power. This is like protective strength, you know. So this is on this force velocity curve. It's on the top, where is the developing maximum strength. Then when you are unattacking, you need to avoid all obstacles. So you need to jump, you need to be agile, you need to be fast, you need to have the strong shooting, and this kind of strength is coming on the beginning of the force velocity curve, where is the speed. So I realized that you need to be a good player, you need to work on all the line on this curve of force velocity. Then when I came to football, I think the biggest problem was the cultural problem. You know, because I found that they are not so dedicated, they are not so educated, and don't have a lot of experience working in the gym. So I was very surprised, because for me, like playing football without you doing some strength exercise for the legs, it was like I couldn't believe. So also I heard a lot of like for me confusing, I don't want to say stupid things, like one player tell me, you know, I can't do the gym, I can't do the bench press because later I will be slower on the field. So I was thinking, bench press, slower on the field, who teach you, who educate you? So my biggest problem was to educate player, to explain them and tell them about all the benefits of the strength training. And when I buy them with my speaking, you know, with my explanation, then everything else is going smooth. So in this moment, I want to say that I apply almost everything what I learned in the handball. I apply everything in the football, but of course, at the beginning, it was almost impossible. And they say me, when I came here, they say me that only 2 or 3 players occasionally use the gym, like for some preventive training before or after training. And then in this moment, you can't go inside the gym. So for me, it's like some confirmation. I feel happy because I changed the culture. So everybody starts to use it. Everybody starts to believe in this. I think it's not like just believing. I think that they felt that this is good for them.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I mean, I know your work, and probably this is the things that all of the coaches like the most. If you can change the culture within the gym, and you can have more players who come here to work, but not because you said that they have to come, but they really see that it's helping them. I think it's the most valuable thing that you can do. And as you say, sometimes you can accept completely new offer. You can come to completely new environment, and then coaching and educating is the starting point, and it can last for a full preseason, even some months into the season, while you get players' attention and trust. And then, for example, 3-4 months into one season, you start actually working on the things that you like to work on. Like you say, force velocity. Okay, with this player, I'm gonna attack a little bit upper part of the curve. With this guy, I'm gonna attack a lower part of the curve. But if you don't know where you're going, and you assume, okay, from the day 1 I'm gonna test the guys, and from the day 2 I'm gonna put them on the force velocity curve, it's just not going to work that way. I wanted to ask you also one question. Now we talked about the transition regarding strength and conditioning. It was kind of hard to adjust because from very, very strong lifting culture to completely opposite situation. But I wanted to ask you from personal perspective. You're a family guy, you have a wife and kids in Serbia. I mean, okay, they are used that you are traveling around the world, accepting job opportunities. But how hard was it for you to make a transition from handball to football after so many years in handball?
I don't think, you know, it was like a 2-second decision for me, because I think that in the nature of every job, you always strive to go somewhere upper, on the higher level, bigger, better condition, better salary, and everything. Just like progress, like career. So and the other thing is that personally, I am the guy who always wanted to do something, to be part of something big, to be part of something important, especially in the sport. So from this point of view, like a business point of view, economic point of view, of course, it was like a 2 seconds decision. But about the family, you know, every separating from my family is like a toughest decision I need to make. So of course always we sit to speak together, because if without the support of my family I couldn't do this. I think I found a good support. I have the, how to say, good wife with who take care about home, about the kids, and thanks to her I'm doing this job and I'm here now.
Yeah, you have an excellent wife. We met her, so I know that it's going pretty well there. Okay, now another question that I would really like to ask. We mentioned that La Liga is one of the best leagues in the world. Now, the experience that you gained from being in La Liga and being in football, what did you learn the most?
The most important thing I change is my philosophy. That's from the ability to availability. When I work in handball, I just thinking about increasing performance. When I came here, I need to change my philosophy, because I need to have the fresh players for every game day. So here we found some special periodization called game conditioning, where the one game is the hardest training in 1 week. For example, in handball you can do 2 or 3 days, and in the sum you can do most accumulation of the fatigue during 1 or 2 or 3 sessions before the game, because in the game you have chance to change the player. Here in football you don't have to change player, so you need to count on every player, and you need to be sure that this player must stay at the field at least 90 minutes. I mean, he need to stay 90 minutes, at least 8 players of the 11, so you have the chance to change only 3 players. So from this reason I start to think about availability. So we start to thinking about how to bring every player in the best condition with the biggest freshness on the game day.
That's the biggest difference. I think we will talk also a little bit about load monitoring system that you have in Alaves in the main part of this interview, but I really like the way how you approach things and how you differentiate very well the demands of handball and football, and I'm really looking forward to hear. Last 2 questions in the first part of this interview. One is related to learning. I know that you probably watch a lot of videos, read a lot of books, read a lot of articles, as every strength and conditioning coach does, but what are your major go-to sources for learning?
Yes, you're right. I do my researches like every strength and conditioning coach, because I believe that permanent education is something what keep us in this business. So, but I have the problem with this, because I can't just take some book and read about it. I need to find some topics what interesting me, and then I try to find some scientific papers, books, even personal contacts a lot helping me. I try to listen and find some videos what the best coaches and best teams are doing. So for me it's like multidimensional learning. I try to learn and keep experience to learn from experience the others, because it's less painful when you take somebody else's experience than if you do something and make mistakes. But what I must say, after, 20 years in this job, I must say that very important thing is that you learn from the players. The athletes is the most valuable resource you have for learning and collecting experience, because from different culture, different personality, different needs, you need to adapt on everybody. You need to adapt to everything. So I think the most valuable thing is learning from the athletes.
Actually, I agree 100%. That's one of the reasons why in the last episode of one-on-one interviews I had here Matthew Jennings, basketball player, and I will have more players, because it's not only that we learn from them in the weightlifting room. I think they deserve to be listened also in these kind of interviews, where younger generations and younger coaches can see that actually players, especially elite level players really know their bodies. They know what they need to work on. They know very well what their weaknesses, and it's something that we have to mutually discuss and debate on a daily basis. Last question in the first part of the interview is about the person who influenced you the most, your mentor or someone, like it can be even your friend, member of your family. Who would it be in your case?
I think that I can't say any names. Why? Because everything what I know is the experience working with a lot of coaches, with a lot of athletes, and your knowledge is based not only about from the good things, also based from the bad things. So I think that every coach I work with put some block of the knowledge in my experience. I also think that a lot of athletes put some parts of the knowledge in my experience, and I felt like one structure from a lot of these blocks, and collecting experience and knowledge from a lot of players and a lot of coaches. So really, if I say one name, I need to say maybe 20 names, because I considering all of these coaches and all of these athletes like a big impact in my experience and my job.
Excellent. I really like the answer. I respect it that you didn't say any names. For me, I completely understand, because that's exactly what we need. Okay, some people have mentors and they say, okay, this mentor influenced me the most because he studied. I was with him when I started my career, but as you say, many coaches, even the bad ones
Yes,
that you don't like to work with, can, after you finish your relationship, hopefully it doesn't last too long, but maybe like half of the season or one season, later on when you look at that experience, it's very valuable, because you learn the things that you would not like to do, or you learn how to approach different things, or how to present your knowledge and your program to that coach, and it's really tough to talk to him. So I really understand what you're talking about. Excellent. Let's take a short break and then we are coming for the second part. Okay?
Okay.
Guys, we're coming back soon for the second part of the episode. Guys, welcome back. This break that for you lasted only 1 second, because video is edited. For us it was a little bit longer, because we have started to talk about Neno's experience in track and field and his training camps that he did in Soviet Union. So I would like to start the second part with a little bit of something that we talked now. Neno, please tell people a little bit about your experience in those training camps in Soviet Union, and how it influenced also your knowledge in athletic training.
I had luck because I participate in the Soviet Union training camps, and I found that this experience from there are marking my way in as a strength and fitness coach. Why I say this? Because in that moment, it was 30 years ago, I do some special methods like plyometric methods, and all of exercise what is now popular, like a transfer training or dynamic correspondence training, I doing that in that moment. So I had the luck, because all of things what I give now to my players, I felt on my bones, on my muscles, and I know what's mean if you cannot stand up with 150 kilos squat, or when you cannot lift 20 kilos in the snatch. So it was I know this feeling. And other things what I want to say about this is that one of the first book what I read when I was starting to educate myself in this business was like a university textbook, track and field. In Russia it's like Лёгкая атлетика, where you found that in every discipline, if you want to reach some goal, you have one table with the task you need to do. For example, if you want to jump 8 meters in the long jump, you need to, I don't know, run 40 meters 5 seconds. I just estimate these values, it's not true, but I want to say. Then you need to lift in your squat 140 kilos. You need to jump from the place 3 meters 20. So it was like one checklist, And if you want to reach some goal, you cannot reach it but cheating on the training, skipping the exercise, skipping the sets, skipping the reps. You need to have a big discipline and fulfill all these tasks to come on the high level. So I think this determined my way and seeing the sport as a coach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay, but basically, I think it will be connected to my next question, that is about prevention or injury reduction. I honestly concerned that if you gradually progress in training, doesn't matter if it's strength training, plyometric training, whatever, and you know how to balance training volume with training intensity, and you really understand the background of player regarding his experience, injuries, age, experience with different coaches and so on, you are very close to reducing the injury risk or preventing the injury occurrence. Many coaches now don't like to use preventive because sometimes you cannot prevent injuries. Then you can debate, okay, we can prevent soft tissue injuries and no contact injuries, and then when it comes to contact injuries, they are completely not preventable. So what is your opinion about preventive training? Because I know in football, especially in Spain, preventive protocols or injury reduction protocols are pretty popular way to start training session, team training session on the field. We can see a lot of guys hopping on Bosu, hopping over hurdles, doing a lot of stuff with bands on balance boards. So how do you see that, and what is your current philosophy in football? And also I would like to hear your opinion about handball, especially when it comes to shoulder injury reduction. Very complex question.
It's a big one. It's a big one. What I want to say, when I transferred to football, first of my lucky thoughts was finally I get rid of the shoulder and the problem with the shoulder. So the problem with the shoulder is the biggest problem in the handball. But I want to go one step back about speaking about preventive program, what you say, how you explain it. Of course, I see it very good. I see it like very necessary things, but my philosophy is a little different in the preventive training. My preventive training is based on the intensity and the forces. Why I say this? Because analyzing the soft tissue injuries, when you're looking in the mechanism of the injury, what you see that you can never be injured if you are slow running, sitting, lying. So every time when you injure it, it's like one high intensity movement, like a high speed movement. So in that moment, by Hahnemann principle, yes, the fast twitch fibers should be engaged in this kind of movements. So when you see the preventive training, it is like a very slow, very isometric, and we know that in very slow and isometric or low intensity training, you engage mostly the slow twitch fibers. So this is the paradox. You injure it when should be engaged fast twitch fibers, and then you do some preventive training when the slow twitch fibers is engaged. So for me, it's not enough. Of course, it is good, like a base, to start from this point, but later you need to do some exercise what is very similar to the mechanism when the injuries occur. For example, I want to say that, for example, if the injury of the ACL, the cutting of ACL is occur 40 milliseconds after first touch the ground. Okay, it's 40 milliseconds. It's like one tiny moment. And if you want to, if you compare with the strength of the quadriceps, who should protect this, the maximum strength on the of the quadriceps, you need maybe 500 milliseconds to occur maximum strength. So we cannot deal with the maximum strength to preventive exercise. We need to deal of the rate of force development. So we need to be able to develop a high force in very short time. So how you can do it? And then generally it's look like plyometric or high explosive exercise are the best exercise for the preventing injury. Of course, it's not preventing, it's reducing, because as you said, in continuum there is an injury you can prevent and there is injury you can't prevent. But generally all injuries are somewhere inside that you can do something to prevent or reduce the risk of the injury. So my philosophy is you need to be very close to the mechanism of the injury. So this is not enough, like a worker inside the gym and in some controlled environment. You need to one step ahead to be on the field where you're injured. You need to repeat or imitate the similar movement when injury occurs. Because it's not the same for football player if he jump on the Bosu ball with the sneakers in the gym, or when he go outside with the boots and jump on the grass. It's totally different things, and I think for me it's very important to like also like principle of dynamic correspondence, to be exercise similar to the mechanism of the injury.
Excellent. I like the answer so much, and I think the listeners will like it and start thinking a little bit about it and the approach that they have. As you say, all the things that are so normal, they can serve as a base, but if we really want to be successful, we need to step forward and think a little bit, as you say, about mechanism of the injury and the occurrence and the way how injuries happen. So we have to come not close, we have to come there exactly where the injuries happen and try to mimic those movements and patterns to train them in a better way.
Because I think there is not bad movement, there is only movement we are not prepared for. So you need to be prepared for every kind of movement to reduce the possibility of injury.
Excellent. When it comes to pure strength training or the work in the gym, where we usually work with free weights. Of course, in the gym you can use Kaiser machine, or I'm just looking at Kaiser machine, but you can work with bands, resistive bands. You can do a lot of explosive stuff. You can even set boxes to make depth jumps or plyometric jumps, whatever. But when it comes to strength training in the gym, how do you program it with football players? How is it different from handball and then programs that you were doing with handball teams? What is the biggest difference? And as you say, for you it's very important to individualize. So how do you individualize strength programs?
As I said, the big relief for me that I get rid of the upper body. So of course we're doing upper body because in preventive manner, but generally I focused on the strength of the leg and the core stability. Okay. So how we organize training? We do some screening of every players. Is it directly testing or speaking with them about their problems, and they usually culture what they do or what they don't do. We organize the work in free phase, like a pre-training, after training, and like a individual training. So pre-training, everybody came to the gym and do some work about dedicated to the problems of every player. Maybe somebody need to activate some muscles, somebody need to reduce the pain, somebody need to increase mobility, somebody need to increase stability. So it was like a easy workout, like it's activation, not is preventive, but activation is also preventive, of course. And then they go to the field. After field, they come, depending what they do on the pitch, they come in the gym again and do some programs. And generally, in this part, participate everybody. And then afternoon, we have some special training for the special needs of every player, if we have time and opportunity to work, because depend of the schedule of the games. So mostly in this program, I involved the younger player who have obligation to participate, and then the older players, they coming by needs, by the feeling they need it or they don't need it. So this is generally organization with individual approach. But also we have 1 or 2 sessions, like a team session in the gym, and it is very difficult for us because in one moment you have 25 players in the gym. So I feel like playing Tetris all the time. We need put here 3 players, 5 players, 6 players or 3 players. So we need to divide and organize the space in the gym. But also it's not just organizing by space, it's organizing by sense, by some logic, by some exercise, by some order of the exercise. So I accept one approach that I organize 6 to 8 working stations, like activation stations, where I cover all the parts of all the group of the muscles, important group of the muscles, like, I don't know, hamstring, quad, hip dominant, leg, quad dominant, stability of or mobility of the ankle, some core stability, some upper body strength. It is organized in 6 to 8 stations. Then everybody do one exercise, because for me, I don't like to separate strength training. I like this strength training to use like activation for the training on the field. So when we have a lot of acceleration, deceleration, small side games, I prefer that this day I start with the gym, where I will use, for example, squat as a quad dominant exercise, because for me the strength of the leg is the most important strength in the football. But also it is very difficult, because you need to organize all players do the one exercise. So I have this 4 posts of the squats, and I organize, for example, 5 to 6 players in one post and do some. Of course, this is group. I divide the players by the group, by the strength, by the ability to lifting, and we have different group of the players. I can't do more than 4 because I'm limited by material, by the equipment. But also my vision about strength training is how can I do some strength training and how I can transfer this to the pitch. So always thinking about dynamic correspondence. So personally, I like a lot to do some complex training, some kind of transfer training, where I organize one exercise as a basic, like for example squat, and then following with 2 or 3 exercise, and closing to the movements what is happened on the pitch. Of course, this could be some complex training with squat, with 2 legs hurdle jumps, with 1 leg hurdle jumps, to do some kind of sprinting. So it's like one order of, because all the time I thinking how and why I doing this squat, because you know, if you do some squat, you will be better in the squat. But you need to think how this squat will help you to be better on the field. So this is one method I use. Another method I use is like a French contrast method, where I use, you know, I don't want to explain the French contrast method, because always thinking about dynamic correspondence. So they do this preparation circuit of 6 to 8 exercise. Then we repeat 3 to 4 sets of this main exercise, and everybody we go to field and continue with the football training.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Excellent. So basically, if I understood well, the basis of strength training is the basic strength exercises, squats, split squats, and so on, and then a little bit of individualization, and the progression is connecting it to more dynamic exercises.
Yes.
And then later on, maybe for a midfielder, you would put some movement that is specific to his position. Maybe to defensive position, you would put a little bit different task, and so on. So this is the part where you individualize, but basically the starting point is more or less the same. Okay, excellent. I like it. I like the principle.
And what is a good thing that sometimes I use, for example, one inclination between it is between the gym and the field. So after this kind of training, I do some sprinting and jumping uphill, and then they go to the pitch.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Excellent. I like it. Let's go back to something that we have mentioned in the first part, and I said that I'm really, really interested to hear about it more. We also talked many times in the past privately about load monitoring system in Alaves, because I think for both of us it was maybe the greatest step when we came here.
Yes.
Maybe knowledge about strength was, let's say, decent. Let's not brag about ourselves, but strength knowledge decent, preventive protocols and individualization in that way pretty decent, conditioning okay. With some coaches it's easy to work on conditioning, specific conditioning on the basketball court. With you, you knew that it's not going to be that hard you have some experience from before. There is another physical conditioning coach, such as Morga, who understands the pitch and also coaches in. I think coaches in football also know quite a lot about conditioning part. But then when it came to load monitoring, it was new step for us, and basically we had to establish the system in both clubs. So I would like to hear about it a little bit more, because it's very different from basketball. It's team sport, but in basketball we have changes, you don't have basically any changes. You train and you consider your game day as the hardest training in that week. We have much harder trainings than comparing to basketball games. Normally our players play between 10, 20 and 30 minutes, so we train much more, and it's so different when it comes to individualization in load monitoring, and that's the whole goal of load monitoring, to individualize and have exact numbers for every player. So can you explain us a little bit from the starting point? What do you consider as a stepping stones in load monitoring system? What are the numbers that you track? How do you communicate with coach? Whatever you have in your mind to explain a little bit, for example, to younger guys. Let's think in that way. Let's talk to younger guys to explain them, okay, now in front of myself, for the first time I have Catapult or whatever system. I'm just saying Catapult because we have it here. I have Catapult for the first time, but now Catapult is not everything. I have to make my own system of load monitoring. So can you explain a little bit how you did it?
I can say that both of us, we have the great luck, because one of the employee was scientist Julian Castellano, who helped us to go into the problem and to organize our thinking about it. This is like a game changing for me. This GPS system of monitoring and microtechnology is something, as I said, that we dealing here with the game conditioning, that all our microcycles is developed and programmed by one game. So we have the data, what one player doing on the field. And this is very important, because this is not just only individual, this is also related to his position. So we have the game profile of every player, how much he run, how much he sprint, how decelerate, accelerate, I don't know, and many data. Because we know that I think the GPS system monitorized 1,000 data in 1 second. So it is a lot. You need to choose this is like one tool that give you opportunity. You can choose what you want to monitorize, and you can choose what you can do from how you can program your training, how you can program training with that. So organize and articulate all of the data is impossible. So you need to, I heard that some using 5 to 6. We using 7 to 8, depend what we want, 7 to 8 data and to monitorize. So I divide it in my head like a data where we monitorize the volume of the training, and other data is more related for intensity of the training. Why? Because I think, okay, you need to follow this simple data. I call it simple data. Player load, the distance, the high sprint distance, medium sprint distance, the number of the repetition, and everything. But as a strength and fitness coach, I start to think, okay, this is okay for monitoring, and this is one part of the reduction of the injury. But let's see what's happened with the other part, with the dangerous things, like reaching the maximum speed. How many times you reach more than 90% of your maximum speed? How many times you have the hard acceleration, deceleration, hard explosive movement? And this kind of data we try to compare. So it is very hard, because you can't find in any science paper experience of somebody, and you need to deal it and to compare with last season, with 2 seasons before. So this is like open book, where you need to put all the words, all the sentences. So it's very complicated, but in one hand, in other hand, it's very creative. So give you some freedom to create, to do something, to deal with the problems, to solve the problems, And of course, it's a big responsibility, because if you deal with something what nobody knows what you are doing, you need to be correct in this. So you need to have the good results, you have the good performance on the team, you have the less injuries. So it's like complicated. But if you know what you're doing, of course, there is some experience. You can find some scientific papers, for example, how to organize microcycle comparing to the one game. So I can say, for example, for us, it is if you run on the game 10 kilometer, for us, one microcycle of the 4 training days, it's like 2.2 to 2.3 times you need to multiply. So you need in this 4 sessions to run between 22 and 23 kilometers. And this is not the same for every parameter, because for high speed running, it's not the same. You multiply with 1. For maximum speed running or sub-maximum speed running, it's less. Then for the number of the acceleration, deceleration, much more. It's like multiply with 3, with 4. But nobody can tell you, okay, this is the right way. You need to find it. You need to follow to see how you manage, how one player play the game with this type of data, and then you need to analyze. Okay, maybe he didn't run too much because he's tired. But also in football, it's very different, because depend of the system what you play. It's not the same if you have the ball or you are defending. So if you're defending, you have a lot of running, but slow running. If you're attacking, you have less slow running, easy running, and you have more sprints. So you need to calculate all these things and to manage all this data.
Brilliant. Now we talked a little bit how you manage external load. Volume in distance, player load, high intensity running distance, high intensity accelerations, decelerations, and so on. What do you consider as important parameters of the internal load, and how you connect 2 of those together?
Also, I have some ideas about it, but in this moment we use some application is My Coach, where you follow the quality of the sleep, the motivation, type of injury, type of the problems, and we monitorize all of this. This like street light, red, green, and yellow. So we try to connect with this. We try to connect with players. Also, we start to use some technology to monitorize the sleeping, the quality of the sleep, the duration of the deep phase, shallow phase, the REM phase, and we try. And this is, as I said, this is open book where you need to prescribe everything. You need to put the words, to put the sentence. And what I want to say that I think that we're dealing with sport performance, with sport form. So for me, for example, some player could be very good. He have good sleep, good eat, good motivation. But in one moment, he came to me and said, "Okay, everything is good, but I don't feel the ball." So I have some idea about one question in this questionnaire. How do you deal with the ball? Because I think that this question is the most important question. This question gives us an answer: is he in the top of his performance in the sports form, or he is not in top? But it's like new things, and I need to speak with somebody to put in this program or something like that. But of course, we use this internal load monitoring, and we try to deal with this. But sometimes you have the big problems with this, because you have one player who is in the yellow, so that means he is okay, but maybe not 100% ready for the training. And then came head coach and he said, "Okay, but I need him because today I have some tactical work what I need to do, and I can't do it without this player." So sometimes we found that it's very difficult to follow everything and deal with this like a 100%.
Excellent. I mean, that's a way how we work in professional sports. Sometimes I think our responsibility is to make it clear what players should do and what player should not do. However, it doesn't mean that player who should not train today full practice, that he will not do it. Of course, if we can do it and coach can respect it, okay, he will do I don't know, 75% of that practice. But as you say, in some cases, due to a very important upcoming game, 2 days before a game or whatever the situation is, maybe this player needs to do full practice. But it also means that if you respect the coach's decision in that moment that he will do full practice, that he will finish the practice with the team, maybe with your good reaction to the head coach, maybe the head coach will contact you during the team practice and say, hey, now in the next 10-15 minutes he's not that important to me, so take him outside, change him, blah blah blah, and then you will gain even more for the future and connection with that head coach. So basically what I'm just trying to say is that sometimes we have to consider also, if we have a clear idea what we want to achieve with the head coach, it's very important how we communicate this idea and how we react to head coach's response to it, and then sometimes in the long term we can benefit much more, even though head coach does not agree with us 100%.
Yeah, I think it's very important to know what you are doing, to say that somebody have the problem. So because in that moment the coach will take attention on him, pay attention on him. Maybe in football it's different, you know, you don't need to go out of the game, you just need to change the role in the game, so you can have the lower load, but I think generally it's functioning normally. I think it's very important to head coach to know that he cannot count on this player 100%. So even he make some mistake, this head coach will know why he make this mistake, and it's not so problematic situation.
Excellent. To close this load monitoring and load management story, I would like to hear a little bit more about load management and how you really manage loads one day before the game. What do you consider, as you said, also you mentioned quite many important things and valuable things in the first answer when you said, we are running in the volume 22 or 23 kilometers, that's load management, because you are managing load in a weekly basis for different positions and so on. But what is important for you when it comes one day before the game? What are the variables that you track the most? And for example, how do you approach compensatory training for players who didn't play? We can talk about away game and home game. So match day, or I'm saying always game day because of basketball, but match day +1, match day +2. Do you also follow the philosophy, match day +1, you come back and you do something, and then match day +2 is recovery day because of the residual fatigue and so on? So can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Very important things when you managing all this load is that you can't managing all the data, all the parameter with the same coefficient, of course. And then we have two types of microcycles. Then where day -1 and day -2 sometimes can switch the position depending of the microcycles and the length of the microcycles. But generally our idea is that day -2 we do like a lowering, and we do like some kind of tapering training with some low impact, just like fun training and everything. And then day -1, we try to not go over the 30% of the totally distance. We try to put some activation through the acceleration and maximum speed reach. We try to avoid deceleration because of centric load of the muscles. So it's like one day of activation. So our microcycles is like a medium day, high day, very low day, and activation day. Before it's like a four-day microcycles. Generally, we separate also sometimes the day +1 and day +2 sometimes switch the position. It's because we have 5 group of the players. We have group of the players who play 90 minutes. We have group of the players who play 60-70 minutes. We have the groups who play 30 minutes. We have the group who didn't play at all but sitting on the bench, and we have the group who didn't travel. So mostly the biggest problem is with the group who sit on the bench and who play less than 30 minutes. This is the biggest problem, because who play 90 minutes, of course, you know what you need to do. Who didn't travel, also they do the same day, on the game day, they do the training and compensate this load. So the problem is the players, of course, 60-70 minutes also we considered as a group who play. And we have the biggest problem with the players with 30 minutes and sitting on the bench.
Who traveled?
Yeah. And there is some rule in the La Liga that after every game, you have the 20 or 30 minutes lights on the pitch, and you can do some compensatory training after. So the player who didn't enter into the game and do some warm up, he's ready to compensate some load with high intensity training. And this is generally the idea. If you want to compensate one game, you need to compensate it in high intensity movement. You can't compensate with the volume, with the time, or with the kilometer, because it's
running laps.
Yeah, running laps. So if you have time, but sometimes because of the traveling, you have the flight time, I don't know, sometimes you can't stay 20 minutes, you need to go to the shower and directly to your flights. When you play at home, okay, it's easy, because you are here, you don't have any schedule, you can follow it. And idea is that every player should come on the first day of the microcycles with same load. So also depend. Sometimes we put next day we put some like recovery training also, because maybe I said something what other coaches don't like it, but I don't believe in recovery training. I think we just making mistake naming this training, because recovery training day after the game is like a little questionable, because you don't have what to recover. Yeah, because I can speak about these topics, because if you came to lactates, you know that after 6 hours the lactates are almost on the same level. If you came to glucoses and glycogen, you recover this with the food, of course. When you came to the DOMS, the delay onset muscle soreness, it is here 72 hours, it is here to 72 hours. So only thing what you need to recover is like a central nervous system. So recovery is very individual, and in this moment you need to do, every player need to do the best thing what he feel he need to do. Maybe for somebody it's like going and do some rolling, somebody need to massage, somebody need good sleep, somebody need I don't know what. So this training after the game I consider like low impact training to wake up muscles again, because if your central nervous system feel that your muscles is tired, your whole body is very tired, and he is like switching off the nerve impulse. So you need to wake up your body. So this is like, for me, maybe this recovery training is more like activation training to wake up body again and be prepared for the next microcycles. And then second day, of course, is generally always the full recovery day.
The full recovery day, when basically players don't come to the club,
they need to
stay with family.
They need to stay with family and to enjoy if they win, of course, or suffer with the family if they lose.
Okay, excellent. Guys, we came to the end of the part 2, and we are coming back soon to finish this interview with Nenad Njaradi from Alaves. Guys, we are back after again long break. It's crazy. I mean, with Nenad I speak basically the same language, so we understand each other perfectly. But it's always fun to talk with him, because he always approaches things from a little bit different, not completely different perspective, but slightly different, and that's something that I like the most, because you always open my mind to approach things a little bit differently. In the last part of the interview, let's stick to some simple questions, just to learn a little bit more about you, about your routines and your work. So first, what is your favorite daily routine here in Vitoria?
Here in Vitoria, I can't say. My favorite daily routine, I can say, that is wake up with open window, looking on the ocean, take my roads for the fishing or camera, go hiking or something. But of course, this is the dream. Here I don't have my favorite routine, because I feel like I'm in Groundhog Day. You know this movie where you're waking up every day with Bill Murray, wake up every day in the same routine, and but this is our job. My normal routine is drink coffee, do reading some internet news, then go to first session, lunch, come here at home, organize the data from the first session, go to the second individual session, came home, and if I have any life in my legs. I go to walk something, maybe half an hour, go back to the sleep. So I can't say that I have favorite routine here in Vitoria.
Okay, no, it's an honest question, honest answer. Excellent. What was the hardest decision that you made during your 20-something year career?
As I said, always separate from the family, traveling on other continent or other country to work. This is always the hardest decision for me.
When it comes to a game or a match, now we are talking about both handball and football. Can you give us a little bit an insight what is happening in your head during that game or a match? What is your major focus? What do you consider as the most important thing that you need to focus on and pay attention to during those moments?
Generally, my work is to warm up the team. So before the game, I'm focused to good warm up team. And as I said, when you have 11 players on the pitch for the warm up, you need to know that all these 11 players need to start the game and finish the game, most of them. And sometimes you can see somebody who is not in the mood, who have difficulties to start engines. So my concentration is to monitorize all the players and to recognize if we have some problems and start to solve these problems before the game starts. Because when the game starts, you can't change player after 5 minutes like in basketball and handball. Second things, what is like my focus is good performance of every player. I looking how they sprint. As I said, I always looking some very intensive things, dangerous things, how they sprint, how they cover, how they breathe after 2 or 3 sprints. This is my main focus. And main focus is like praying that nobody will be injured, because if you feel that somebody fell down, this sensation in your stomach of the guilty, and you start to analyze what you do, what can you do bad or wrong to that somebody will finish the game with injury. So mainly preoccupation when I watching the game is that I don't want any injury on the field.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And how was it in handball, where you were able to make a substitution? Did you make some kind of reactions if you saw something?
Yes. So as I said, if I saw some problem, if I saw some hard breathing, if I saw some redness in the face with the confused look, I always suggest the trainer that we have the problem in the team, that he needs to go outside to the bench and to rest a few seconds. But generally the head coach always can see this, but if he always we do like the same job in same moment, because he have other things to think about tactics and looking on the other side. I always try to monitorize and look on the players individually, how they feel on the court.
Excellent. Where do you see generally our field in the next 5 to 10 years?
As we said, individualization. It will be the biggest. I think this is the future of the every sport. But sometimes I'm not sure how to solve this, because if you want to individualize training, you need a lot of strength and fitness coaches, because working more than 2 or 3 players in the group is very difficult. You need to pay attention. If we say, speaking about high level, so if you want high level, you need individual training. You need to be one-on-one, as you and me now. And this is the future, individualization. So team fitness, team tactics, and all other things, it will be done on the court. But everything else, like strength, some problems like rehab, prehab, or everything, it will be very, very individual. I don't know that you do you know that the best football players on the world, they have the private coaches, the private staff, private team of the 7 or 8 guys. So they recognize that if they want to make good money, if they want to last, they need good attention. And second thing, what I think is the very important is this microtechnology, this following, collecting data and organizing all of this data, and I think this technology will go inside on every every part of the sport.
Excellent.
As we said, when you sleep, when you eat, when you train, when you do, no, I don't know, everything.
I wanted to ask you something that now popped in my mind, as you said, like everything will be tracked even more. How much coaches use tracking technologies in soccer now, in football, for tactical analysis and tactical changes in the team, tactical preparation? Are they using it at a high level?
Yes, they are using it. This is a big analyzing this big competition, how they move, how much they move. I forget to say that, for example, when we monitorize, we have some rules how we apply this load on every player. So we apply regarding his personal profile. Also, we apply regarding the profile the best player on the field. So if you see that your player is running 10 kilometers, but best player on this position running 11, so you need to think about it. How you can make that your player will run as a best player on the field. You need to close him to this position.
Excellent. What are your plans for the next 3, 4, 5 years?
Stay and settle. Stay and settle and continue with the same job.
Continue to ride. Okay, I like it. Some nuggets for younger generations, some important ideas that you would like to share with them, just some suggestions.
There is a lot. First of all, I want to say that permanent education is something you need to be aware. So for me, with my 53 years, I'm tired of learning every day, and every day I wake up, I know that I know less. Because I know something, then it's open other things is opening, and every day, as much as I learn, I saw that I know less. Second thing, that as Albert Einstein said, information is not knowledge. So if you have information, if you don't have experience and you don't know what to do with this information, this is nothing. So it's better work pro bono for nothing, for no money in your local club, than sit in your house and be smart coach. You don't know that you are not paid enough. And I don't know. Be aware that sometimes this job take you all. Separate from the family. Be ready to sacrifice this part of the life. And maybe what's happening to me, I was always be shy to ask for the help. Shy to ask for the help. And when I ask somebody with I don't know, very famous coaches and very famous faces in our business, they are very open to communicate. So my advice is, don't be shy, and write a letter, write an email, and ask all the good players or good coaches about things you don't know. So it's be open, be ready to, and the very important thing is be ready. If some opportunity is open for you, be ready to take it 100%. What that means, you need to be prepared for this. So if you don't see any job, but you need to prepare every day, because one day this job will come. And then if you take it unprepared, maybe it's not the good option for you. So you need to be prepared every day and waiting for big opportunity.
Excellent. If some younger or experienced coach wants to ask for your help or for an advice, what would be an appropriate way to contact you?
Any way he can find. Anyway,
social
media like Instagram, like I don't have Facebook. I don't like it, but my email address, and I think you can find it on the internet. If you find my name on the internet, I think there is even in my phone number, even my email address and Instagram profile and LinkedIn also. And I received, and I'm always happy to answer, and I was always happy to help. Also, what I forget to say, that this our job attract me in one manner about helping people. I feel inside like happy to help to people and see becoming better.
Excellent. I really like it. Before we finish, I have 5 quick questions, just for fun. You didn't know about these 5 questions, but let's
I
go
need to
for
answer
it.
quick.
Yes, no, you don't have to be quick, but the questions are pretty simple and quick. So, who is your favorite singer?
In this moment, Julio Iglesias.
Oh, okay, nice. Who do you consider as the best track and field athlete of all time?
Usain Bolt.
Okay, I was thinking that you would say that. Who is the most professional player that you have worked with?
Oof, it's very hard question. Very hard question because I have a lot of them.
Okay, you can say even more names if you see that it's important.
Guillermo Maripan.
Maripan.
Si, yes. Si.
See. Okay, perfect. What is your recovery method number 1 that you would suggest to any athlete?
Win the game.
Okay, excellent. Win the game. Nice.
Winning.
Excellent. I like it.
Winning and feeling inside that you are happy, and that is the best method for recovery.
Perfect. And last one, what is your favorite book? Doesn't have to be strength and conditioning book, just book.
Just the book, maybe.
But it can be. Zaciorski.
No. Conscious coaching.
Conscious coaching.
Yes,
Coaching.
Brad Bartolomeo.
Oh, okay, excellent. I like it. Neno, thanks a lot, man. This was really nice. Now we go for a beer and the round is on me. Okay, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this episode because I really like it. Unfortunately, you cannot be with us in the next 1 or 2 hours when we're gonna go for a beer and talk a little bit more about strange theories and about everything what we mentioned here. Once again, thanks a lot for watching this interview. If you like this content, just share it. If you want to stay updated about latest posts on the channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.